I'm Gannon Hanevold. This is a Blaze Radio exclusive interview with Tom from Covey.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, yeah.
I know Covey has been on tour with Somersault and Breakup Shoes for what, a couple months now?
Yeah, since we left Brooklyn around like November 3rd, and we kind of caught up to them in the South in Texas, and then we did our own little run out to get there, and then so we've been going since November 3rd, so really like a month, 2 months, like and a bit almost at this point, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's been good.
Well, I gotta know, what are you doing when you're not on stage? You got the Nerf gun ready to go.
Oh, we're getting up to all kinds of stuff. I don't know. Whatever we get into that day, sometimes we have a piñata that we had we cut the head off the piñata and then put this mannequin head on it. And we had this idea to fill the mannequin head up, the piñata up with red string, so and then throw it into the crowd so when people pull it apart, it looks like blood and that was a project one day. We're always trying to get up to stuff that's fun for the crowd or ideas for things. We ordered this big 6-foot dummy who's actually outside right now. We named him Chad.
Nice. And
we throw him into the crowd sometimes. He kind of became our because we have this one song that goes fuck that guy, I hope he's dead.
Oh yeah.
So we in the New York show we threw a dummy out to be it's that guy, get him, and everyone was punching him, throwing him about and all that kind of stuff. He kind of crowd surfed and hopped about and then came back on stage, and then we named him Chad, and we kind of grew to like him. So he now he just sports our merch at the merch table. So you'll see it at the merch table. There's a scary looking screaming mannequin thing, just a floppy mannequin.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like I gotta ask about Sam Jam. Obviously, that's that's a big song. Was one of the big singles from this new record.
Yeah.
Is that cathartic, performing that song on every night?
It's been more than I thought it would be. I thought that. When I wrote it, that was the ideal scenario. Having crowds sing that specific line with me, and
right.
When I recorded it, we put the group vocals on it to give it that emphasis to encourage people to sing it live, and I thought maybe some people would, but it's been everyone in the room louder than I need to stay at the mic, and it's so in that sense it's already cathartic to be playing that song and to be yelling that myself, but to have it be as loud as it's been every night has just been beyond cathartic. It's become our anthem, and the song that people have DM'd us saying they're most excited to sing along to and all that stuff. It's just been crazy. People in Portland climbed up on the stage, so we had a huge crowd of people on the stage. We got in a lot of trouble for that. the stage man was what the fuck are you guys? I was I don't know, they just climbed up but most of the time the bands will come on the stage and kind of sing it with us. It's so we always have this kind of hype team behind us, and everyone's fuck that guy. But yeah, it's been nice to tell the story and to have people connect, and I've been sending my sister the videos too, and she's very very thankful that everybody's supporting her.
She loves the song?
Yeah, she's flattered that everybody's making her. She says she feels very loved. She was he's got to be dead by now.
Just spoken into existence.
Yeah. She's being pummeled into the floor with all of this energy.
Well, I guess we'll talk about the new record a little bit. Class of Cardinal Sin. It's got its whole lore now on social media and whatnot. What came first for this album? Was it the stories that are behind it, or was it the songs and then you kind of attach stories to it?
So it's kind of it's kind of convoluted, but so the songs are all about my own personal experiences, and the characters and the kind of stories that came through the TikToks and the front cover are kind of stories that are pieced together. They're fictitious stories, but they're based on either pieces of things I've experienced. So each character has kind of got something about, or a personality trait, or an experience I've had that I've experienced myself, or a friend close to me has experienced myself. So it's the stories kind of came as a separate thing. They don't directly relate to the songs, but there are lines in certain songs that will relate, because the songs are about my life and these characters are being written with experiences that I've experienced. There's crossover, so there's certain things that will happen in the songs that relate over to to the characters that we're building for that record and stuff. Yeah.
Is there a certain character you relate to the most, or no?
I guess like
It's like
a lot.
picking your favorite
Yeah,
child.
it is kind of like that, but it's also like hard because it's like that's like saying what part of what experience in your life is most defines you. It's like kind of like a hard question to answer in terms of like, like in terms of like how like one specific things, like, you know, like there are certain ones that are a little more powerful or like would define my life a little more, like Benjamin Bork, you know, going through his family stuff, or like Alex Anderson has like night terrors and stuff, and the sleep disorders that she deals with. That's those two are big prevalent parts, and like things that, you know, I've experienced for a long period of time, and I think shaped me in a lot of ways, or like shaped my creativity. You know, I think that like the sleep disorder stuff I experienced did shape that kind of stuff. So I think it those like I have little parts like that I like characters that I obviously have like little favorites and stuff, and also in their builds and the way that they ended up looking is fun too. Like I just love that Benjamin Bork has one arm. It's just like my favorite, and he's got kind of like protagonist energy to me. Yeah, like he's always like main character energy, and like yeah, we've actually been pitching it as a show, as like a TV show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like an animated TV show, but
Wow.
I don't think I can go into that too much. But like,
Okay.
but no, it's been cool. We and Benjamin Bork is the protagonist in the story, and he's kind of like uncovering everybody's deaths and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just love that he's got one arm, and it's ridiculous that he has one arm.
And I know, I forget which song it is, but in the music video, you see the...
Yeah, it's Caught in the Crease, yeah.
The losing of the arm.
It's so much fun. You kind of get to see how they all like ended up the way that they are, and it's all relating off the TikTok, obviously, but it's nice to like have it actually like cinematically play out and stuff, and that video in particular was the funnest one to film. It was like we all just got our friends and went to New Jersey, and it all just came out so perfectly on like, you know, a minimal budget too. It was just like, it's so obscene. It's just like, it's the people were like, oh, this is like weird core or whatever. Like, I was like, yes, it's been fun.
The whole story behind Classic Cardinal Sin, it's got, you know, horror movie energy, all these like interconnected storylines and whatnot. Do you have a favorite scary movie?
We were just talking about this actually. Like, I like scary movies that are like kind of like unsettling more than they are legitimately scary. I mean, like there's a Dutch film, or is it German film? I think it's a German film. It's called Funny Games, and it's like this really messed up, strange, like psychological game kind of like thing where even the viewers are confused throughout the film and I like that kind of stuff. Like, it's unsettling, you're not comfortable throughout the whole film, and you know, there's like really, really, really dark moments, there's like really intense, like graphic moments too, and all that kind of stuff. But it's been
I'm so sorry.
No worries.
but yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, no, I don't know if I have a favorite. We've been kind of watching a lot of them, and people have been recommending them to me a lot. Once I like started putting all that stuff out, they're like, "Oh, you totally like this." I mean, like, I'm obviously in newer sense of films that have come out. Like, obviously, like Hereditary's been a favorite of everybody's, and like, I obviously really enjoyed that. But I feel like that's overplayed at this point. Like, I feel like everybody loves that film, and it's rightfully so. It's a great film. But the attic scene in the Cut on the Crease video, I was very like, as soon as we put it together, I was like, this is so Hereditary feeling, and I liked that. I was like, okay, cool, I'll go with it. But yeah.
Cool, gotcha. With this record, I know the fox kind of comes back, and I know that's on the cover of Haggerty. So have you been putting together this storyline for like a couple of years now?
The fox has always been like a thing as a theme throughout all the records, because the fox originally, like, in songs is depicted the feeling of anxiety and depression, like those times where you're kind of in your room alone and you know, you get those cycling thoughts and you can't get yourself out of the anxiety, and you're like kind of, or whether you're up at like 3 a.m. and you like I have a hard time sleeping, so a lot of the time I'll like wake up at 3 a.m. and then like as I struggle to go back to sleep, I'll panic about the sun coming up. I'm like, great, now I've been up since the sun came up and I still haven't got this scene. Now I'm going to get 2 hours sleep before this and I'm going to be so tired for this. And I start cycling. And when I cycle down, it just makes me more anxious, so I can't sleep even more. So I'm just like fulfilling prophecy. And that's the fox is like in the room then. And it's like, it actually came from this like night, this sleep hallucination that I had where I woke up in the middle of the night and saw this like, I had like a coat that was on an ottoman. And the coat had like a fur hood lining, and because I was hallucinating, I like saw this fox that was like twitching and like sitting there and like staring. It was like looked like a really gross taxidermy fox, and that's pretty much where it came from. And then after that, I started writing about it as like as a representation of like this lingering, creepy fox that's always like at the edge of your bed if you're like feeling like shit and you're like originally you hate the fox, and that's what. So when I came to write the story for it, I originally put the fox in there as this looming, creepy omen kind of thing. And as we went through the series on TikTok, everybody was like, "Fuck the fox! Like I hate the fox." And I was like, and as we're writing, when I was writing, I was like, I'll have it so that it seems like an omen, but then it flips. I almost spoiled the TikTok for anybody who hasn't watched it. But the fox isn't what it seems.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I obviously you got the characters on the cover of Some Cats Live, Some Cats Die as well. So it's been
it's
themes have been going for a little while.
Yeah, it's been growing, and like it's nice to, with this record I definitely like tied it together, and I'm gonna continue to like put record covers out that further along the story, whether it's a new character or whether it's a significant moment in the grand scheme of the story that's like kind of just constantly growing at this point. So it's getting so big that it's like overwhelming, I feel like, for people. It's like I don't even like, I try and explain it to people and I just like watch their eyes gloss over and I just like, what the fuck? I need to like write a book or something. Like write a book, or like, as I was saying, like I need to get this pitched and picked up as a TV show or something, because I would love to do that. I would love to just like have an art form that I can like fully explain and tell this, like, for what's become like a big story at this point.
You can soundtrack it yourself too.
Exactly, and that was the idea. Yeah, I can't go too much into. I guess I can't. I don't know if it fucking matters at this point, but we've been pitching like throughout this whole tour and stuff to like execs, and we're just trying to get someone to bite basically and trust that it's going to be a cool thing. I think it's very niche, it's very weird, and like we just need one person to like go for it, and then we're gonna.
If there's one thing Hereditary's proven, niche and weird is good.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
With this tour in particular, opening up for Breakup Shoes and Summer Assault, with the new record out and everything, what's your approach been to like deciding the set list? Obviously Sam Jam's in there because that one's been a big hit, but how do you approach picking songs to perform?
I think we like have some in our mind that we're like have to be in, and we have some that we've been playing for a while that have to stay in to us, like, or that we're very like attached to. Like we opened the set with a weird one. It's like Jupiter, the first song from Some Cats Live, Some Cats Die, and on the record it's very kind of chill and like a lot calmer than when we play it live. It's like very like explosions in the sky, kind of post-rocky kind of sounding. Which is like, sometimes we'll like change a song up like that live and it just fits and works so perfectly, and we're like attached to that song. I don't think we're ever not gonna open with that song at this point unless we have one, that somehow tops it. But like, when we come to pick the other ones, like we'll pick them in our head from what will work as a like, set that isn't linear. Like I like to go up, and if we're gonna play a down song that kind of goes up, I try and like make a wave as much as I can. So like if it goes down, it needs to come back up. If it goes down, we can't stay down. We'll lose, especially when we're not playing to like our own crowds and stuff. It's like we don't want to lose people's attention, so we're constantly trying to like make sure we have peak moments that like keep. Just if people drop off for 1 second, they're like, something will happen where like they'll be like, oh shit, like okay, I'm back in now or something. So that's kind of how we pick them based on that.
That's pretty.
Yeah, right. But yeah, like so we thought we were gonna play Point Mutation on this tour, and then we played it. And we've been playing Invader Zim for so long, and we kind of don't want to get rid of Invader Zim. So we decided to like just keep that one in, and we'll figure out Point Mutation for another for a future tour. But yeah, some of them just fit so perfectly. 1991 is one of our funnest to play, I think. Kind of how we do it. Yeah.
When you're playing the crowds that aren't necessarily Covey crowds, some people are coming from Summer Salt.
Oh, for sure.
Is there a certain feeling that you want to evoke? And I guess this is probably like a bigger thing, like with your music in general. You know, when someone finds you on Spotify or wherever, is there a certain like feeling that you want to, provoke with a listener or not?
Yeah, I think just like vulnerability. I think is that. Yeah, I think that if you hear me talking in between the songs too, I'm very like open and like telling stories about my life. I mean, I tell that story about my sister every night, and like, but I'll also just be like, hey, I was fucking so miserable for the past year and a half. Like, here's what I was doing. Like, this is the only thing that was keeping me together in my life, and I'm just like basically like venting and saying like how happy I am to be back, obviously, but like. I think that's what I'm going for with the songs and for whatever I'm saying in between. It's like just oversharing, really. Like I'm just being super honest and trying to connect that way with people and make people feel comfortable in the crowd. Yeah, that's all I can do, really. It's like, and then hopefully we play well.
I'll be there tonight. So
sick.
I'll be in there, screaming to Sam Jam for you.
Hell yeah.
I know that's obviously one of the first things I noticed when I heard your music the first time was vulnerability is there, and I feel like that's becoming a more and more common thing with music. Are there any musicians that you would say influenced that vulnerability for you or helped you find your voice a little bit?
Yeah, I think like Frightened Rabbit was a big one in that vulnerability and like the struggle that you went through with suicide and like that whole arc on things was really powerful to me. Like trying to think of other ones. I always feel like whenever people ask me, I immediately forget all of the bands that I like, loved listening to and take influence from. I mean, like Daniel Johnston was really like a huge influence for me. It's kind of why I started using the chord organ. We use a chord organ throughout all of the records, and for some reason, like when I heard, Daniel Johnston's records and music, once he started using that chord organ, I was like, it's such a like an interesting sound or whatever, and it's like got this intimacy to it, but it's an organ, and I love organs, but like using a church organ is this grand, epic sounding thing. And I felt like the vulnerability came through with the chord organ more, so it was like kind of like. Yeah, there's I mean, Elliott Smith as well was a huge like lyrical writing influence in terms of vulnerability, and like there's loads. I could keep going. Yeah, exactly. Nick Drake is another huge one too. Like Nick Drake and like his like intimacy and like warmth. That was a huge influence and stuff that I do too. But I'm also influenced by like a lot of pop punk music, so I try and like get that size in there too. So I try and like hit as many ends of the spectrum as I can in terms of my influence. So like I love songwriting, but I also love like pop punk music, and I try and put that, whether it's a progression or whether it's a guitar line that kind of has a pop punk vibe to it, or like an emo vibe. Like I love emo. I grew up listening to emo music and pop punk. Like my like Enema of the State by Blink-182 is like one of my favorite albums of all time, and then like it took me a while to like come to terms with that, because I was like, I feel like there was this like stigma attached to people who listened to emo music for a while, and everybody just kind of shoved it under the rug, and then when everyone was like, wait a minute, when the emo revival kind of started up, DIY shows were like churning out all these amazing emo bands like Modern Baseball and like all those things. It's like everybody started coming out of the woodworks and being like, yeah, you know what, fuck it, I listen to music, I listen to emo music too, like, and that was really reassuring, to see everybody kind of collectively coming together in that way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know. I was raised the same way.
Yeah.
My siblings had the star-studded belts.
Yeah. Exactly.
Had it all. That was.
Hell yeah.
You mentioned Daniel Johnston too. My best friend actually just got a tattoo of a line from Story Artist.
Oh hell yeah! Yeah, that's sick. Hell yeah.
I know. I've seen on social media you've been getting tattoos on this tour, right?
Yeah. I got a few relating to Classic Cardinal Sin actually. Cool. I got this one, which is there's like an alphabet in. Like a cipher in the story of Class of Cardinal Sin and the whole like lore that you were talking about, and this is the key to the stitch. So if you want to figure out what the cipher says, this is the key to the alphabet basically. And I don't know, I just like honestly, I was going through Montana and somebody was like, hey, I really want to tattoo you. Do you stick and poke tattoos? Do you have any ideas? I'd love you to come through. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And I just literally like. It's Dizzy Ghost tattoo, by the way. Super talented, yeah. As a nice little plug. But No, they nailed it though, and like this is like one of my favorite tattoos now. And I was like, I knew I wanted to get this, but I didn't know where. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna put it on my hand. That was just like my first hand tattoo. I always try to keep it like off the wrist. I was like, you know what? I'm on tour. I'm realizing I'm never not gonna want to be on tour, and I'm never not gonna be a musician. So fuck it, I'm just gonna get a hand tattoo or whatever, or like kind of break that. But it's not like exactly aggressive. But I also got this one, which is like it's kind of a long story as to what it is in the story of everything, but it's kind of the fox, but it's also like a possession of the fox. It's a whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I also have one here of a cursed Benjamin board, which is a part of the house tour series that I did on my TikTok lives.
Very nice. Yeah. Wow. Been a busy tour.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I assume we'll probably have to wrap things up soon. I could talk, all day, but I thank you. For,
yeah, of course.
for your
Thank
time.
you guys for coming through. We appreciate you like coming out here and doing it and like making it as smooth and easy as you did.
Of course. Well, for Blaze Radio, I'm Gannon Hanevold here with Tom from Covey. One more week of tour here with Wake Up Shoes and Somersault, and then hopefully some new tours, new albums around the corner.
Yeah, we're back out in March, so we'll be doing pretty much the same run, but shorter. I think it's just a month, but yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
cool. Thank you so much.